Welcome to College Town Talk. I'm Jonathan Frank.
And I'm Shan Stout.
Shan, you know how I'm really musically talented, right?
I know that you claim that you're musically talented. You've said that before, yes.
Right, and how I play a musical instrument.
I'm not really sure that playing the recorder in elementary school counts, but go on. I'm curious.
Okay, well, today's guest is a fellow musician, Shan, and she is one of the Upper Cumberland's newest residents. We're talking with Dr. Susan Miranda, the new executive director of the Bryan Symphony Orchestra, which is celebrating its 62nd season this year. Dr. Miranda is a renowned oboist who comes to Cookeville by way of the Midwest, where she was most recently visiting assistant professor of oboe at Oklahoma State University and formerly an adjunct professor of oboe at Hamline University and Northwestern College in Iowa. She also brings more than a decade of nonprofit management. So we're excited to talk all about her new journey in Cookeville, her musical background, her life beyond the stage, including her love of our national parks, which I'm excited to get to, and what made her say yes to the Bryan Symphony Orchestra and to Tennessee's College Town.
Well, Jonathan, I'm going to venture to say that her musical background is a little more extensive than yours. Dr. Miranda, let me be the first one to say welcome to College Town Talk. Welcome to Cookeville.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me on.
All right. Now, we have so much we want to ask you. I am a big fan of Bryan Symphony Orchestra. We've supported it through the Visitors Bureau, and it's always so exciting to see their growth. And then when I heard that they had found a new person, I could not wait to meet you. Now, when we say you're new to Cookeville, you're really, really new to Cookeville. The Bryan Symphony Orchestra just announced your hire on January 21st. So that just has recently happened. And I'm told this is a compliment. It was a unanimous and very enthusiastic decision. So no better things can be said about, yes, absolutely, all in favor, aye. So tell us, how are you getting settled in so far, and what have these first few days as an official Tennessean been like for you?
Absolutely. Well, thank you for that insider info. Unanimous is kind of a fun thing to hear. But we are very, very new to Cookeville. I mean, I don't think we can legally call ourselves residents since we're living in an Airbnb currently. But so far, everybody has just been absolutely wonderful. We're in a tiny home south of Sparta with my daughter and our cats. And so we would like to find something slightly more permanent.
Now, this isn't the Airbnb in Sparta that has the donkeys, is it? Because there's a donkey retreat Airbnb out there.
We should have picked that one. No, there's dogs and cats and chickens. We said hi to a little white chicken this morning. So it's pretty close to the donkeys. And then there's a gorgeous river when we step out the front door. So it's fun, but maybe not past a week fun.
Yes, it's vacation fun. Yes. It's not permanently lived there.
Correct. Yes.
Well, and I'm a big fan of in Sparta. If you're a coffee person, the Coffee Collective in Sparta.
It's amazing.
You should put it on your list. Yeah,
good.
Yeah,
we have been visiting a different coffee shop every day this week. So we were at Poets North, South. Which one?
Oh, yeah, Poets.
Poets
South.
Original
they're the
and
OG.
Poets South.
Okay, good.
Yes.
So we were there this morning. We were at Soulcraft yesterday.
Oh, love that. That one's really kind of my favorite.
Abode the day before.
Oh, yeah, Abode is brand new.
She's hitting the whole coffee trail.
We are. So I know we're not legally Cookvillians, is how you say that, but we're really making an effort.
Absolutely. Well, I'm just going to tell you, when you hit the Longhorn Coffee,
we did that
Annie
in
Oakley
January.
Is the winner.
Oh,
it is
good.
amazing.
Okay. Yes.
And it makes you feel real tough.
Awesome. Yes. Awesome.
Well, Dr. Miranda, you've lived and studied all over the country, from Indiana to Kansas to Minnesota, Iowa, Oklahoma. And your music has reached audiences in places as far away as Ireland and Thailand. You'll also be performing in Costa Rica later this spring. So I'm going to guess you had no shortage of opportunities when it came to where you wanted to take your next career step. So take us behind the scenes of the application and interview process, if you can, because I know you came to Cookeville for a visit before you made it official. So what made you decide that this community, and specifically the BSO, the Bryan Symphony Orchestra, would be the right place for you to call home?
Sure. Yeah. So the process was fairly lengthy. But I've been through an executive director process before that was even longer. So
Wow.
It was really nice that, this just was a few months instead of more than half a year.
My goodness.
So,
All a matter of perspective.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And so, there have been a variety of opportunities. But after doing the 1-year college professor thing at Oklahoma State, I was okay with the possibility of moving back into kind of a freelance life. Before grad school, for quite a while, maybe a decade, I was fully freelance. I didn't work for anybody but myself. And so it was kind of like, do I want to do that again? But I'm still mostly working for myself. Obviously, I talk to the board and make sure they're okay with all the things. But I guess I'm still my own boss in this aspect.
You got a little bit of creative control going
on.
on.
Yes, exactly. So the process, I had an interview, which was on a Zoom call because I was in Oklahoma. And I kind of think I may have been the only one who didn't have a in-person interview. And so they kind of alluded to, you're the one, but also we need to meet you. And so it was like, okay, how are we accomplishing this? And so, of course, being a board, they had to vote, like, how, when, where do we bring her? And so that is what led to my visit at the beginning of January. And my parents live in South Dakota, so my daughter and I were there for Christmas and just stayed extra long and drove here from South Dakota. But we sneakily stopped and checked y'all out.
And she vetted us, Jonathan.
I did. So we were here a few days before, like, New Year's. And then my daughter and I drove to Charleston, and we had kind of a beachy New Year's vacation, and then turned back around and headed back to Cookeville.
Well, this is the most fun interview ever. I mean, like, I want to take a job where I get to just hop across the United States on my way to get there. So
that's truly kind of my life. So it worked out.
Now, Dr. Miranda, now that we know what brought you to Cookeville, you snuck your way here and you checked the place out to see if, because that's important. It's not just, there's been times that I know that I have been offered jobs that look fabulous on paper, but the relocation aspect of what you would be facing, sometimes it's not appealing once you put yourself mentally in that space to what your life would look like. So I think even with healthcare around here, they're bringing in surgeons and specialists and doctors, and they come here and they say, can I live here? And the good thing we have going for us are all of the state parks, all the natural assets, a very safe and shoppable downtown, all the historic elements, and the fact that we have all these train depots across all the cities.
It's really
there's
neat.
just a lot of things that I believe, not that I'm tooting my own tourism horn, but I do believe we have that going for us.
So that's kind of your jam in there.
It is. So I'm glad that you saw that Cookeville would be a great place to live, because we agree. But let's go a little farther back. Now that we've heard your origin story, you play the oboe.
I do.
So tell us about your early days as a musician, when you first picked up an oboe to play, because that is a very unique instrument in itself. And when did you realize, you have that epiphany where you say it's not just a hobby, but something that could be a meaningful career path as a musician?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I actually started playing the piano in, I think, first grade, maybe. My dad is a musician, and his side of the family, there are a lot of musicians, and many of them are professional musicians.
Oh, wow. So it was in your blood.
Yeah, right. I'm actually adopted, so.
Oh, my goodness.
So it was in the nature.
Nature or nurture. We now know it is
It's
nurture.
not always in the blood. Yeah, anyway. And so having that background and that upbringing, I mean, every time I got into the car and my dad was driving or a passenger, there was classical music on the radio, on, whatever, XM. And so I think that kind of ingrained some things into me, but he's a CPA. However, he was initially going to be a concert pianist.
Oh, wow.
I know. Isn't that a little twist?
That is a zippy and unexpected twist, yes.
And so when I was playing piano, I hated it because he was really good and I was not. And then he would try to help me and I hated that even more. And so, I pushed through and I was okay. But then in 5th grade, it was time to pick your band instrument. And I was at a babysitter's, like an after school care. And one of the girls played clarinet. And so I came home and I exclaimed to, I think, my mother, I want to play the clarinet. And she got kind of a look on her face and in her mind was going, oh, the squeaking.
Yeah,
and,
I'm going to have to listen to the
like...
bad clarinet practice for at
Yes.
least a year before she gets
Yes.
any good.
And so my mother, she knew me well enough to say, well, Susan, what about the oboe? There are not very many people who play the oboe, so you'll probably get all the solos. And, it's really unique. And it looks just like a clarinet, but it has 2 reeds instead of 1. So now every
your
time
mom should have gone
right?
into politics. She is a brilliant convincer.
Well, now I might curse her every time I make reads, but no, I'm just kidding. But it is her fault.
Wow.
It is her fault that I play the oboe to this day.
I love that.
Yeah. And so moving forward into high school, when I was a freshman, I think is probably when I knew that I wanted to be a professional oboist. And then my senior year of high school, I actually went to a performing arts boarding high school in Michigan called Interlochen Arts Academy. And so by then it was like, well, yep, this is the thing.
So with your mom, her advice of not many people play the oboe, did that wind up helping you in any way? That it was, did that open a broader opportunity?
Well, I think once you get good at the oboe, even though there are few, if you get to that point, the other few are also very good.
Yeah.
So even though there are fewer of us, we have to, be kind
Still
of on the
heavy
higher
competition,
level.
yes.
So there was definitely still competition. Yes.
We had a chance to talk over the phone yesterday, and I've been eager to ask you about this because you have something in common with my parents and kind of my whole family, which is you're really passionate about our national parks, and you've been checking them off the list.
Yes.
So I read you've already visited 260 national park sites.
Yes.
And I did some Googling yesterday, Shan, because I got confused. I guess when they say national park sites, you've been to because there's like 60 some odd national parks, but then when they say park sites, it's like the monuments and the battlefields and the presidential libraries. And so you've been to 260. I mean, I don't know
266.
200. Okay.
Oh,
my numbers
her
are out of
competitive
date.
nature. I know. We blinked, Jonathan, and she's already hit another one.
So I could talk we could have a whole interview about this, but I mean, how did that get started? I want to know your favorites. I want to know what's next on the list.
Yes, good question. Okay, so I'm a single mom and I have been for quite some time. And something that most people know is that we don't always have a lot of money. But we still want to give our kiddos some of those amazing experiences. And so I had to get a little creative. And so I wanted us to do a camping trip because, campsites are much less expensive than $100 hotel a night. And so we went out west when Mariana was 5. And we did a bunch of the Utah parks. I mean, most of the Utah parks, and just fell in love. I'd been to Yellowstone and, I'd been to Mount Rushmore, and we go out to the Black Hills a lot. But I didn't really know what the national parks were all about. And so after that trip, I came home and I did more research, and I joined a club. So I'm a super nerd. I'm part of a National Park Travelers Club. And I go and get all the park stamps. And so that just kind of continued. And over the last 10 years, we've now been to 266 of the 433 national park sites. And there's actually 72, I believe, just national park designated spaces.
She would get along so well with my director of marketing, Tessa Davis. She's all about getting her stamp in her state park passport. I mean, that is so important to her. Now, Dr. Miranda, we'd be remiss to invite you on this program today and not remind our listeners of the next chance to see the Bryan Symphony Orchestra in action. And for anyone, I can't imagine if you're living under a rock that you have not participated and seen this amazing group of musicians. It is so beautiful. But you have a big concert coming up, and that's Sunday, February 15th, day after Valentine's Day. What can you tell us about this performance? What should our listeners expect?
Yeah, that's a great question. So yes, February 15th at 3:00 in Wattenberger. And some of the pieces that we'll be playing are Samuel Coleridge Taylor's ballad. And I won't even give you much about him, because if you go to our Facebook and Instagram tomorrow, there's actually going to be a post all about Samuel Coleridge Taylor.
Nice.
So check that out. We're going to be hearing a marimba concerto by Eric Owazen. And that's very exciting, because this big concert is the one where we actually share the winner of the Joan Derryberry Concerto Competition. And so that is Andrew Frost. Andrew Frost is a junior music performance major. He studies percussion at Tennessee Tech. And so he won that competition, and you will be hearing him play the Owazen. And Eric Owazen is actually a living composer, which is really fun, because we don't always hear those living composers at some of our concerts. You'll also hear the overture to Scenes from Faust by Robert Schumann, and then you'll hear a little bit of Tristan and Isolde from a Wagnerian opera. And I'm so excited, because you can't just, the day after Valentine's Day have a concert without a little bit of a tragic love story, right?
That's true. I was waiting for love to play.
Someone may
sound.
die. A couple people may die. It's all good.
For listeners that have never been before, and if you're wondering, I don't know if it sounds a little daunting, do I have something to wear? Can I go to the symphony? They make it very easy, very accessible. It's kind of a come as you are. I think oftentimes it's the concert length is right at around an hour, so they, you don't have to commit your whole day, but you can get your tickets online at bryansymphony.org. You go to will call, they'll show you to your seat. They make it really easy for you, and it'd just be a great way to kind of draw out that Valentine's weekend and extend it into the 15th.
And people have asked us about attire, at the Visitors Bureau, what to wear. And I call it cute date clothes. But I'm like, you're in the safe space if you're just dressed for a cute date. You know what I mean? So
truly, we want to have a welcoming atmosphere for everyone. So I like to say, wear your boots and belt buckles all the way to your ball gown.
Yes,
whatever
everybody
makes
wears
you comfortable,
everything, which is a true statement.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm looking at the clock here. We're going to have just an extra minute, so I want to ask you real quick, because you were talking about living composers and the pieces that'll be at this upcoming concert. But you are working with some living composers because you have this grant to actually write music and create pieces celebrating our national parks. So your interest in our parks goes beyond just going as a visitor. You're now working on some beautiful new music right in time for the 250th anniversary of our country, celebrating our national parks. Can you tell us just a little bit about that?
I would love to, yes. So back in 2019, I started what I didn't realize was going to be a lifelong commissioning project. I commissioned composer Catherine Bergman to write a piece about the Mississippi River, which the part that's considered a national park flows through Minnesota, which is where we're originally from. And so she wrote that piece for my best friend and I. My best friend is a harpist, Hannah Palmquist. And since then, we have commissioned 2 other composers in that area, one Minnesotan and then a Wisconsin composer, because the St. Croix River flows through both states. So Teresa Martin wrote a piece about the St. Croix. Julie Johnson wrote a piece about Voyageurs National Park. And I just premiered last summer my first Kansas park about Fort Larned by Grace Bauer Dunlap. And I don't know if you're noticing a theme, but these are all women.
I'm loving the theme, women and nature.
Yes.
I mean, like, it's great.
Yes. And so if you want to learn more, my website, susanmiranda.com/National Parks Project. You can see everything that's upcoming, but my current grant through Mid-America Arts Alliance, which is a Kansas City-based organization, living in Oklahoma, I was able to get this grant and create even more pieces about parks. So I've got Padre Island coming up, and I've got a trail that goes through the Chickasaw National Recreation Area.
Wow.
Yes. So I'm very, very excited to share more national park music for years and years to come.
Well, we will link to that website in the show notes, because we want people to check that out. But finally, Dr. Miranda, I know you're pretty new to Cookeville, but we like to end each interview on this podcast with the same question, and that is, what is one way that Tennessee Tech has impacted your life?
Absolutely. Well, gosh, this organization gave me a job. And so I think that is a pretty significant impact,
That
right?
is big impact. Absolutely.
Yes. And we are very thankful for that.
Well, we're thankful that you all are here, and the Bryan Symphony Orchestra is just so lucky to have your talents, and really appreciate you being our guest today on College Town Talk.
Thank you so much for having me.
What a pleasure. She's just a delight. And for our listeners, if you're enjoying our show and hearing from all-star new Cookvillians like Dr. Susan Miranda, would you do us a favor and leave us a 5-star review on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get this podcast? It helps to spread the word about the great things happening right here in Cookeville. And don't forget, you can learn more about the Bryan Symphony Orchestra and buy tickets to upcoming concerts and events at bryansymphony.org.
We'll meet you back here again next week for more conversations with the people who make Cookeville Tennessee's college town. College Town Talk is presented by Tennessee Tech University in partnership with the Cookeville-Putnam County Visitors Bureau. Your hosts are Jonathan Frank and Shan Stout, and original music is performed by Andrew Buckner. Visit us online at tntech.edu/collegetowntalk.